Welcome to a very special Practical Shooting After Dark. I'm flying solo on this one tonight, unfortunately. Well, it's because this is going to be a pretty spicy show. Nobody else in the crew wants to get kicked out of USPSA. I don't want to get kicked out, but c'est la vie. Nobody else wants to get punted, so I'm flying solo. The upside is, I can promise you, tonight's show is going to be a banger. Not to worry. For the audio listeners, there's going to be a show and tell at the end. You don't really need to hear it. I don't think it really matters that much. You'll get the idea anyway. But anyway, we're going to fire it up. We're going to get some drama going because people love it. Okay, so if you haven't heard, I have been booted. I've gotten the punt from USPSA. So officially, I got a suspension letter from Sherwin, the USPSA president. This was done in coordination with, a few other people caught bans. Some others got smoked. I'm not exactly sure who. I don't want to name all the guys necessarily because I don't know who, and I have some reason to think there might be some names that got added to the list after the fact. At least that's what I'm hearing. Again, it's not really clear who or how many got punted. We don't know yet. So we'll find out, I'm sure. Anyway, yeah, like I said, we'll find out. So let's talk about the letter I got. There's a bunch of semantic bullshit in it. So essentially there's a process in place so they send me the letter. I can appeal to the board, and then they, I guess, uphold the ban. I don't know. The reason that there's a process in place is a lot of times when somebody's suspended, it has to be done immediately. So I think one time a USPSA member murdered somebody, and as soon as they found out about it, like the president can get rid of him immediately, and then it just takes time to get the board together so they can go ahead and do the ban themselves. So that I think that's why that process is in place the way it is. So the president can kind of do it on his own if he wants to, or the president and the board can do it. In this case, the president and the board, they already voted on a list of names, apparently, of people to kick out. The reason given, well, I'll get to it. Sorry, they voted on the list of names, and they've been talking about it for a while, I should say. Months of consideration, according to Leighton, in the public statements he made, and we've got some internal emails, which USPSA Insights, an Instagram account he posted, they confirm the same. They've been talking about this for a while, about banning people. Like Jake Martin's in there saying, like, hey, let's string up this guy. Sherwin's saying, like, hey, we got to do some suspensions. Anyway, the reason on my letter given to me for being kicked out of USPSA is activity bringing discredit to the corporation. There's no details provided. That's just what I did. I'm just a guess, thinking it has something to do with my activities on this show and on Instagram. Could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure that upset them. Anyway, it's pretty vague. But the most explanation we got on this from a board member in public was it the new Area 3 director, Kevin Collins. So he said there's lots of misinformation on this topic. This is not a ban, not yet anyway, the suspension, blah, blah, blah. So the semantic thing. So what they're saying is it gives the recipient 30 days to request a hearing in the board. They can explain why they should be reinstated. All one has to do is read the letter posted to understand this. Unfortunately, no one's taking the time to do it. This is not true. I obviously read the letter. I'm aware of the process. I don't give a fuck about it because you guys already voted to punt me. So the process, that's sort of irrelevant. I'd be appealing to the same people who already voted to get rid of me. And, it's just a way to abuse me with a process, honestly. Like, fuck these guys. Like, it's obvious what I did. If they have a problem with it and they're going to pump me, then that's what they're going to do. Anyway, the letter clearly explains that USPSA has no intention to publicize this until after a decision is made following the hearing, assuming it is requested. However, some are choosing to self-publicize. Yes, Kevin, you dipshit. That's what we are doing because that's the best defense we have because your hearing is bullshit. So we can kind of just do the hearing in public. That seems better to me. Anyway, point 3 that A3 director laid out. Trying to suppress criticism of the board due to perceived bad actions Cameo, etc., had nothing to do with the suspension. I think that's an obvious fucking lie, and everyone knows it. Nobody who's not critical of them regarding that issue is suspended, to my knowledge. I mean, being critical of them on that issue and, direct criticism, sustained criticism, those people got smoked. Anyway, 4, the suspension is directly related to the libelous and personal slander directed at board members for past alleged action outside of their USPSA duties based on hearsay and assumptions has led to discrediting the BOD and the president. Unfortunately, only a small percentage of members are aware of the doxing and slander happening, and the drama queens are self-publicizing their suspension letters as bans and allowing people to think this has to do with squashing criticism. Yeah, this guy's living on a different fucking planet. I mean, obviously. Like, whatever. What an idiot. Anyway, that's what the Area 3 director put in there. Like, obviously, our best defense is to air this out in public. In private, stupid. Might as well talk about it in public. And it's kind of weird to call you a drama queen when you get punted from USPSA, which you've been doing for, like almost 2 decades. Like a long time I've been around doing this. It's a pretty big part of my life. So I guess talking about getting kicked out of it, that makes me a drama queen, according to the Area 3 director. Anyway, obviously this is retaliation for the criticism. Obviously. They don't care about any of the other issues. It is total bullshit. Total bullshit. So if we talk about this or that, they'll say it's slander. Like what? I mean, anyway, let's talk about some real problems. So one problem they have is Jake Martins. Now, USPSA Insights is an Instagram account where it's obviously a person hiding behind that name. He gets into some pretty spicy stuff. He's about as intense, as aggressive as I am when it comes to criticizing the board. And I communicate with him. He gets a little emotional, but he seems like a fundamentally good person. So anyway, one of the problems I have is Jake Martins, and it's related to USPSA Insights. So here's what went down, communicated to me, and there's receipts to back this up. So Insights, as I said, he's very critical. He's very aggressive. And there's a lot of people, he's fucking people up, so they're going to want to find out who he is and do things to hurt him. He knows what he's getting into. Like he's digging up stuff that is not good for people, accusing people of cheating at USPSA, this and that. He's making fun of Leighton because it's like, oh, your kid can't pass chronograph, this day, and then you just show up the next day and he passes, stuff like that. Pretty funny stuff. But anyway, he's doing his deal. He dug up something regarding Jake Martins and a domestic violence criminal history. And that happened, and I think in very close proximity to that, he was posting on Facebook, and he swapped his accounts wrong because he manages multiple accounts because he has a personal account and the Insights account. And I think they figured out who he is based on that. That's what he thought. So Jake Martin started interacting with Insights, like under his real name, his Facebook account, and his LinkedIn account, just letting him know, like, hey, Jake Martins knows who you are. And Insights had just been putting out some, honestly, pretty damaging material about Jake. It wasn't doxing. It was like a criminal history, like a criminal record. And then a few hours later, or some time later, he got a text from Jake Martins letting him know, like, hey, I'm in your town at a Starbucks and I want to meet with you. All of this, just interacting with his accounts is one thing. That's like, hey, I'm letting you know that I know who you are. And then, driving a few hours away from where Jake Martins lives to meet with Insights or something. Obviously, that's pretty sketch. And, and by the way, Sherwin's aware of all this. He thinks it's fine. The reason that's a big problem is you have a guy who has a criminal history, and then he's doing driving a few hours away to some guy. He has every reason to be mad at this guy, obviously. And he's driving there, texting his personal phone number, like, hey, come meet me. It's like, he's letting him know, hey, I know who you are and I want to get a face-to-face. That's pretty weird. That kind of shit can escalate really fast. And you see that and you're like, you need to fire this guy. You need to fire Jake. But they know about that, and that's not a problem to them. And that's, to normal people, it's like, man, that's, you don't have to like Insights or agree with what he's doing to be like, hey, this looks like this is going to be a criminal deal potentially, and you have an org employee doing that. But anyway, Jake's a problem they aren't dealing with. But then again, they never will. I mean, way back when they caught Jake and Foley pulling shenanigans on the expense reports, and they covered that up, like way back. They just didn't talk about it. I mean, they don't think anybody knows about it, but obviously some people do. But I mean, the point I'm making is they're not gonna deal with Jake, and he is an issue. If you want to take a look for yourself, Insights posted a bunch of internal emails regarding the Cameo shit show, the nationals that had to be moved because the organization was, encouraging people to violate state law, which is kind of a problem. If you read that, Jake, in mid-crisis, they're having to move nationals. This whole thing's blowing up. Jake says, he tells them to fire him or shut up. And they're in the middle of it. It's amazing. And instead of firing him, like, effective management would do, they don't. I mean, it's weird. That whole Cameo situation strange. Again, you can read their internal emails, and it lays out that they know they've got a problem with the law. Bruce One wrote like a thesis paper on the law. They definitely understand it, and they know people are going to be breaking it. I mean, even Bruce Six, maybe the dumbest board member, I think he is. It might be close, but I think he is. He put out communications where he clearly understood the law because he was indicating what year his magazines were from, so he thinks they're legal, that kind of stuff. I mean, there's tons of issues. If you're curious, go to USPSA Insights Instagram page and read that Cameo stuff. It's crazy, and that stuff is very damaging for the organization, like in their tax status and whatnot. Like, that's not good, and a lot of people are upset about that. And instead of dealing with the problem, what they're doing is going after the critics. I mean, the Infinity guys, they smoked at least one of them, maybe more. I don't know. And the Infinity was critical of that situation. Anyway, I know they don't have a problem with doxing. I mean, Ted, Area 8 directors, his buddies doxed the shit out of Insights on Facebook, like associating his name with this account, which I totally understand. If they get his name, they're going to do that. And I think Insights understood that too. They definitely doxed the guy, definitely letting him know, like, hey, we know who you are, letting other people know who he is. It's just amusing, like doxing it's okay when they do it. Not a problem. I mean, slander, here's another good example. Like Brett Wally's a name, that's another name on the ban list. Talk about slander. Like Brett Wally says some really nasty things about people on the internet. He gets really aggressive. Not very pleasant. I really don't like the guy. He's been horrible. He's been horrible to me. He said horrible shit about me. Slanderous shit, as a matter of fact. Or libelous, I think it was written. But yeah, like, nobody gave a fuck. He's like all sorts of people he's going after. All sorts. And nobody gives a fuck. Not a problem. But when he starts talking about the Jake Martin's criminal history, that's a problem. Not okay. So again, and I don't think that was slanderous what Brett Wally said, by the way, regarding the criminal history. I don't think that was slander. I think it was just pretty mean. But anyway, that's the example. Like, I know they don't care about that stuff. Because, like, again, it's okay when they do it, or it's okay when it's not being done to them. Like, people in the community go after each other all the time in really nasty ways. These guys don't give a shit. Anyway, let's talk about another thing. In the Area 3 director, he's talked about past actions of leadership. Unrelated to the USPSA duties. And I agree, generally, like, I don't think there's any reason to talk about it. I don't think anybody would be interested. But I'll tell you, like, you guys have, when you have the organization having financial issues, and you have, like, here's a good, like, one accountant guy goes to the in-person meeting and says, hey, I'm an accountant, I do this, like, this and this is wrong, and they don't listen to him, they blow him off. And then you're seeing, like, hey, their financial director, he quits. And then 6 weeks later, we're going to do a deficit budget. Like, they've got financial problems. They're fucking up the money. Okay? And they appear to be lying about it, defensive, like not answering questions. They're not listening to guys who know about this. Like, it's not a good situation. So now that the temperature's gotten raised, people go out and do some digging. And you're like, half of these guys have serious financial issues in their past. They're like, the board is like C class. If you average them, they're like C class at personal finance at best. It's funny. You shouldn't be taking personal finance advice from these people, and they shouldn't be running a business. I mean, if you look, a couple of them have failed at it, like in their past. It's like, I mean, I'm not trying to, I don't really care if they fail at whatever, but when, you know, again, if you're having financial issues with your organization, defensive, deflecting, blaming other people, not taking accountability, not fixing anything, and on top of that, you've got a history of doing, it's like, what the fuck? Like, well, not great. It makes it look like the board is the problem, which in fact they are. The board is a big problem. Yeah. Anyway, as they lay out in this letter, I'm supposed to please let us know if you desire a review and your reasons the suspension should be reversed. A conference call with the board will then be scheduled. Don't worry, guys. That's not going to be necessary. I'll put it on the internet for everybody. I'll give you the reasons why the suspension should be reversed. So we'll do a little show and tell. First. I bought a bunch of these Shadow 2s. These aren't sponsor guns. I paid for these hoes. I bought 4 of them. Dots. The whole shit. Going to do me some carry optics. By the time, you know, you get the magazine set up and all that stuff, I think I'm into this for like 10 grand. So I would like to shoot these at USPSA. So that would be cool if I would be allowed to do that at some point. That's just funny. I'll talk about some stuff that, you know, other people bring up. Here, I'll pull out a trophy. This is a Nationals trophy, a glass one, the first one I won. And this doesn't, like, being good at something doesn't mean you should be allowed to do it. But, I mean, I feel like I put in a lot. Got this cool trophy. And as a matter of fact, I actually crushed a beer can with it at Nationals when I got it. There's still a mark on it from that. That was pretty cool. That ruffled some feathers back in the day. It's kind of amazing how much times have changed. Like, I still piss people off, but it seems like it takes a lot more. Here's a more recent trophy. The last one I got, 2019. It's a lot more shit of a trophy, honestly. And actually, if I look at my trophy wall, that's kind of like the trophy quality went the same direction as USPSA over time. It's pretty funny. But let's get to something useful. Yeah, here's some books I've written about how to shoot better. You know, based on my participation in USPSA. Some people find these helpful. You know, it's good for me. I get paid a little bit of money too. You can hand them out in classes. It's very useful. Got some other stuff. Ugh. Got some cool souvenirs. This I picked up in Russia, like a little range membership, an honorary range membership for a cool range in Russia. You know, that's nice. I got this coin from a military unit that I worked with. I have a lot of these. Like, again, because of my participation in USPSA, I've gotten to travel around. I've been to like 50 countries. Trained with all sorts of people. Done a lot of really interesting shit. It's been really good for me. Hell, the house I'm sitting in is paid for shooting. You know, a shooting instruction. So, you know, if I don't belong in this organization, I don't know what to tell you. Either way, what you guys should do, should reinstate us. This is bullshit, what you're doing. Obvious bullshit. People know it's bullshit. They see through you. There's more internal emails coming. People see what's going on here. Sherwin, the temperature keeps rising on this thing, and it is not good. I'm talking about people getting a hold of expense reports. Spending thousands on single dinners for the board at your in-person meeting, like thousands of dollars for one dinner. People aren't going to like that. You fly your fuck buddy to Nationals on org money with some pretty bullshit justification and fly him home before the match even starts. That's obvious. People start looking through records, they're going to see that stuff. The federal ammo situation is the most obvious thing. You guys have a tax issue with all the federal ammo that's been coming in. I think for the org, almost certainly Troy, Sherwin, and Jake, you guys need to amend some tax returns. And with how geeked up Insights some of these other guys are, I would be doing that right now because those guys are not happy. And, you know, there's people who know who to call for this stuff and they're upset. It's not going to be me. I don't give a shit about fucking you guys up. You guys fuck yourselves up. But other people are upset with you. Anyway, you should reinstate us. You should fire Jake. You should get your financial shit in order. You know, maybe a few of you should think about doing something else. Anyway, fix your shit. We are not your problem. We're not your problem. Okay? Anyway, that's tonight's show. I think it was a banger. If you have a question, go to benstigger.com, send it to me. When we get the full crew back on here, we'll have a full show, the Q&A, the whole deal.